What is up, my friends? Welcome back for yoga time. It's James. I'm going to lead us through a power yoga class today. So the design of this class is that we're going to get into our strength, our flexibility, and our balance, but we're going to take everything nice and slow. I want you to come into child's pose. So take a tabletop, knees out wide to the edges of your mat, and then tops of the feet to the ground with your big toes together. Lower your sit bones towards your heels. Bring your forehead all the way down to the ground. From that position, exhale all the way out to empty. Breathe into your low belly and your low back. Hold there. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold there. Fill all the way up to the chest and the shoulders. Hold and relax. And then exhale for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's do that again. Breathe in low belly, low back. And hold. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Hold. Fill all the way to your chest, all the way to your shoulders. Hold that full breath, relax, maybe sip in a little more air. Exhale for 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, begin Ujjayi breathing. This is that breath of victory that we're going to get to sound like ocean waves. So if you're not familiar with this, your inhales from the bottom, you're sipping the air in through your nose, drawing in with the muscles in the back of the throat from the bottom, all the way through the middle, all the way up to the top. And on your exhale, you're out your nose, and it's like you're fogging up a mirror. Again, using the muscles in the back of the throat to release out nice and slow. And as you dial in the Ujjayi breathing, you hear that sound of ocean waves. You hear that sound of hollow wind. And this is a beautiful breath practice that allows you just to slow down and regulate your breathing. And I always think about if you ever have experienced driving a manual car versus an automatic car. Most of us are experienced with automatics. If you had the experience of a manual car, you have the choice of when you are going to be shifting gears. You've got the choice of how you're going to handle hills, how you're going to handle curves, how you're going to handle slowing down or accelerating. And what's amazing with the breath in the human body is that usually all the time, right, it's on automatic. Thankfully, it's on automatic. But at any point that you want, you can switch into manual like we're doing right now and control how you're handling the breath. So friends, let the breath be your guide for your practice. Take what works for me and then leave the rest behind. We'll find those last couple rounds of breath in child's pose. Feel free on these last couple rounds to start to actively press your hands forward into the ground. Your elbows will lift, driving your sit bones closer back towards the heels. Excellent. Get all the way down to the end of the breath that you're on. And then we'll rise up into a tabletop position. And to warm up your wrists, you'll turn the insides of your wrists forward to the front of the room. And then your palms are down and your thumbs are pointing to the side, fingers face back. And with the breath, you can just slowly lean back and peel your hands off the mat to your fingertips, and then slow motion rock back forward until the heel of your palm lands. And do that a couple times, slow and controlled. Get into your wrists, get into the circle of your palm, get into your fingers. Nice. Take the back of your hands down to the ground. Your fingers could point to the back of the room or to the sides. You don't need a ton of pressure into the back of the hands. You can do back and forth or side to side movements. Just give a little massage. Perfect. And then drop your sit bones back towards your heels. This is hero's pose. Tops of the feet to the ground, knees together. And just give a roll out through your wrists. Fantastic. We're going to meet in down dog, and I want you to get there from a plank position. So plant your hands, shoulders above your hands, toes to the back of your mat. and then shift your hips back and up in space. Once you find that down dog, drop the weight into your right heel as you bend into your left knee. And then you're going to slowly just switch between your left and your right leg. So as you drop the weight to your left heel, you'll bend deeply into your right knee. As you're walking out the dog, feel spread out into your hands. The circle of your palm is rooted. Your fingers are down to the ground. Weight of the head is released. Gaze is back behind you. You're lengthening your arms out at the same time. You're letting your biceps tone into center line like there's tennis balls you're holding between your ears and your biceps. Bend both of your knees a little bit. Lift your hips back up high in space. So this should be the biggest diagonal line you're going to get, the biggest extension you'll get from your hands to your hips. And then keeping that length intact, keeping those biceps toned in, let the heels gently pull down to the ground back behind you. And that's the full down dog. Lengthening through your spine, toning through the biceps, and letting those heels gently pull down. If you've lost track of your breathing, I want you to take it right back into your breath. We'll take baby steps on the balls of our feet, all the way back up into forward fold at the top of the mats. And you can go to your fingertips at any point in time when you arrive in forward fold. Either have your fingertips, your palms, or your fists rooted down into the ground. Weight of your head is released. Let's inhale halfway up. So press the hands to your shins, gaze to the ground, bend your knees a little bit. And then with your gaze down, the crown of the head reaching forward, you're extending your spine, and you need to strengthen around your spine. So let your shoulder blades gently tone in towards one another. Let the core strengthen around that low back. Excellent, friends. Take one more inhale right here, and on that next exhale, release forward fold. With the weight in your head and your arms, slow motion, wind up vertebrae by vertebrae to standing. Your head will be the last thing to come up. When it does come up, inhale to reach those arms wide and tall. Maybe arc back a little bit. And on the exhale, take your hands down into your heart center at standing. Inhale to reach and extend back up nice and tall. Breathe in. Interlace your pointer fingers into a steeple. And then on your exhale, arch to the right as your hips shift over to the left. And we're strengthening through that inner right side body and getting a lot of nice length through the outer left side body. Rather than shoulder heads lifting up, let the shoulder head stay down away from the ears and the back as you extend out through the fingers, finding length. Use those exhales to maybe find a little more length, a little more extension. Again, hips are off center, reaching out towards the left. On an inhale, stretch and reach up nice and tall. And as you exhale, just bring the hands down into your heart center. Okay, bring the left foot into the center of your mat, and then cross the right foot to the outside of the left. Inhale to extend and reach your arms up nice and tall. And as you exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive down into our forward fold. Fingertips can release, head releases. Inhale halfway up. You can press to your front shin. Same thing we did earlier with the spine. Exhale, refold. And then on your fingertips or using your block, we're going to walk the hands over to the right side of the mat. And I just grab my block and put it on level 2. You could have it on level 1 or even level 3. But what we're looking for is that you're pressing into your left leg. Your hips are shifting up to the top corner of the left wall or the left side of the room. And then your left hand is reaching down to the right and is creating just this beautiful stretch through your side body. You could be on your fingertips, your fists, or your palms as well right here. Weight of the head is relaxed. And I love it when you're letting the hips reach up and back and up to the, reach up and to the left. You're lengthening the outside of your left leg. But then as your left fingers are rooted down to the right, you're also reaching out of that. You're also rather stretching through the hips, stretching through your side body. Yeah, awesome breathing. Nice. Start to walk back to center, and then you'll have your fingertips to the ground, and then just reach and extend your right leg back up into standing splits. So your left foot is rooted, and the name standing splits is one that, is kind of popular and gets used in yoga studios. But I like to just call this a standing forward fold with one leg lifted. In this case, it's your right leg. And as you reach and extend that right leg back up nice and tall in space,
Just like a regular forward fold, you want fingertips, fists, or palms rooted to the ground, and then your head is relaxed and your gaze is behind you. The other thing you can start to do that I love this is start to press into the ground through your fingertips, through your fists, or through your palms, as if you were going to take yourself up into a handstand. So you're pushing, lengthening through the arms. Biceps are probably toning in towards center line. Take one more inhale to lift that right leg back and up. Next exhale, you're just going to release into your forward fold at the top of your mats. Excellent, friends. Inhale halfway up, extension through the spine. Tone around it. Exhale, refold, and reverse swan dive. Inhale to reach your arms out wide and tall. Arc back a little bit. And on the exhale, take your hands down into your heart center. Inhale to reach back up tall in a mountain. Interlace pointer fingers into our steeple. And then on your exhale, you're going to arch over to the left this time as your hips shift over to the right. So press to the ground and let the hips draw over towards the right side of the room. Again, strengthening through that inner left side body to reach and stretch out through that the outer right side body. Biceps are pulled back to frame the ears. You're extended through the arms, but shoulder heads are down away from the ears in the back versus the shoulder heads lifting towards the ears. Hips are off center over towards the right as you press to the ground. Get down to the end of the breath that you're on, and on your inhale, let's lift back up tall, release the steeple grip, and bring the hands into the heart center on that exhale. Okay, this time your right foot, center of your mat. Cross your left foot to the outside of the right. Inhale to extend and reach your arms up nice and tall, and on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and swan dive down into our forward fold. Inhale brings us halfway up, press into that front shin. Exhale, refold. And then using the fingertips, fists, or palms, or your block, you're going to walk the hands or take the hands over now to the left side of your mat. Again, if you have the block, you could have it on level 2, or you could have it on level 1. But you're pressing into that right foot. It's rooted and grounded. Your hips are shifting towards the right side of the room and lifting up and back in space as you press down. And then that right arm is reaching and extending down to the left. And as your hips are lifting to the top corner of that right wall, and your right fingers are reaching down to the left, you should get that nice stretch through your side body. And really, you can feel it coming from your hip through the side body down through your fingers. The weight of the head relaxes, so your gaze is to the right with your head relaxed. Nice. Let's find that last round of breath here. And so you're going to walk the hands back to center or bring them back to center, root to your fingertips, fists, or palms. And now we're taking standing splits with your right leg as your base, drawing that left leg up and back in space. Head is relaxed, gaze is to the wall back behind you in space. And then what I'd like to, what I'd like to have you do here is start to engage where you're pressing into your fingertips or your fists or your palms, as if you're going to take yourself up into a handstand is the way that I think about it, where you're extended and pressing down, biceps are toning in a little bit, and then you're also reaching that leg back and up as you press into your right leg, reaching that left leg back and up, and then the gaze is behind you, crown of the head is down. Nice, fine. One more inhale right here. Extend and reach up. And on that exhale, full forward fold, top of the mat. Inhale, halfway up, extension through the spine, gaze to the ground, tone through the shoulders, and then plant your hands, and let's move back into the top of a plank position. From this plank, friends, give a little forwards and backwards motion just to feel what's holding you up in space. And one thing you get to feel into is your core muscles. As you hold your plank, you want to feel your hips on level with your shoulders. Rather than your elbows locked, there's just that micro bend. It's a really subtle difference. Biceps toned in, gaze to the ground, crown of the head reaching forward. Now on your toes or on your knees with your ankles crossed, we're going to do some slow motion push-ups. So breathe in at the top. And on your next exhale, lower halfway down, leading with your sternum. Inhale lifts you back up to the top of your plank. And again, exhale halfway down, leading with your sternum. Inhale, lift back up. Last one, exhale halfway down, lead with the sternum. Inhale, lift back up, avoid bending the hips. And on this exhale, let's come all the way flat down to the ground. And then with your hips comfortably to the ground so you can press into the hips, start to lift up and find Locust Pose. Create length through the back of your neck as your chest lifts off the ground. Bend your elbows up a little bit in space as you extend fingertips back. Let your shoulders gently tone in towards one another. Lift the legs up off the ground, lifting up. So thighs are also pulling off the ground. And then stay with that breathing. We're going to swim the right arm forward in space, extended. Bring the left hand to the small of your back and cross your ankles. And then swimming, switch that out. Left arm forward, right hand to the small of your back, cross your ankles the other way. Nice. One more inhale to lift up. And then when that exhale comes, lower down. We'll make our way to down dog. So you can lift up to plank. You could also do a tabletop. And then shift your hips back and up in space. Find that downward facing dog. Couple rounds of breath working on the extension in your spine, letting those biceps tone in and drawing length through your legs. On an inhale, reach and extend your right leg to the top corner of the back wall. So taking this to a three-legged down dog. Press your heel all the way back up behind you in space. Let the front of your right hip bone point down and back. Watch you're not sinking into your left hip. You're lifting up and out of it as you press back through your heel. Next, exhale with your shoulders above your hands, right knee to your left elbow or tricep. Holding that knee up in space. We're here for 4. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Inhale back up, three-legged down dog. Exhale now your knee to your right elbow or tricep, shoulders above your hands. In for 5, 4. Nice breath. 3, 2, 1. Inhale back up, three-legged down dog. And on the exhale, bring the knee to your forehead. Lift your hips high, back heel is high off the ground. Curl your head in. Here for 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach back up in space. And on your exhale, step up to a low lunge position. So right foot up in between your hands. Once you're there, we're taking it into a high crescent lunge. So arms up nice and tall in space. Back left heel's off the ground. You're on the ball of the foot. Left thigh's pulling forward. Right thigh's pulling back to meet it as you press down. Let your biceps pull back to frame your ears. Shoulder heads are down away from the ears in the back. Pinkies forward, thumbs back. And as your thighs are pulling and toning towards one another, you want to create strength in your right leg around your right knee. Feel the press to the ground, into the foot. Feel your right sit bone pulling up and back in space. Rather, your right glute pulling up and back in space, engaged. That right quad wrapping around your knee, your upper leg engaged. Stay with your breathing. We'll take hands into your heart center. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, hinge forward and twist open to the right, bringing your left elbow to the top outside of your right thigh. And as you hold on to this twist, you've got that left elbow right at the top outside of your right thigh. Press into the prayer position to twist open to the right so that you've got the knuckles, that you are lifting your sternum to the levels of the knuckles of your thumbs. Gaze is to the side, crown of the head is reaching forward. And on your exhale, you'll be able to twist even a little deeper. We're almost there, friends. Take that last big, deep round of breath. Nice inhale. Get all the way down to empty on that exhale.
And then we're opening to warrior two. So knife edge of your left foot down to the ground, left arm back, right arm forward. You might walk your right foot forward even a little bit more so that when you're in your lunge, your right thigh is parallel to the ground. Your heels are in one line from the front of the mat to the back. You're pressing individually into your legs, pressing down to those feet. Thighs are still toning back. Your right sit bone is underneath your body, and your spine is straight up, and arms are fully extended out from center. Shoulder blades gently toned together back behind you, and gaze is out in front of us. Nice breathing. Take an inhale here, and on your exhale, we're going for our extended side angle pose. So your right forearm could bring to your right thighs, your left arm lifts up. You could also take the right arm to the inside of your right leg with your elbow to the inside of your knee, and the fingers hovering off the ground just to the inside of that ankle. Left arm lifts up nice and tall. Watch that your left hip didn't lift as you leaned into extended side angle pose. You want your left hip down on level with your right, so you're lifting through that right side body as your torso is leaning. We don't want to fall into that right side body. Stay with your breath. And on your inhale, we're opening to a star shape facing the left side of the room. All 10 toes face the left, arms are wide. Breathe in, and on an exhale, we come into this wide-legged squat position. So you want to shift your heels underneath your knees. Your feet are going out at 45, and you're dropping low right here. Watch that your thighs are rotating up and back in space, and then you're rooted into all edges of your feet, all corners of your feet. Spine's up nice and tall, and don't just dump the weight into the knee joint. We want to make sure that we're lowering into the muscles engaged around the knee joints. Hold your hands to your chest. We're going to do some twisting for here in just a moment, but just hold on to this pose and breathe. Nice work, friends. Okay, hands down to your thighs. Inhale to lift up nice and tall. You're still in that squat. On your exhale, we're going to twist to the back of the mat. So press off your right leg and twist, stacking your left shoulder over your right. This should feel really nice. On an inhale, bring it back up tall. And as you exhale, twist to the front. So press off that back left leg. Nice. Okay, come out of it. Inhale back up to your star. And on your exhale, we're going to come back into our warrior two. We'll complete this with a reverse warrior. So left hand to your hip thigh behind you, and then reach that right arm up nice and tall. Let your left shoulder fall back a little bit in space away from your left ear. And as you reach up through that right arm, you could bend your right elbow a little bit. If you came out of your lunge, recommit down to the strength of it. You got it. Keep engaged in those legs. Nice work. Okay, on your next exhale, cartwheel your hands down to a low lunge position. Okay, you're going to bring your gaze up a little bit, and then in one move, we're standing up to one-legged mountain, bringing your arms in your left knee. Now, I love doing that transition, so I want us to take that a few times. And what we're going to do is breathe in one-legged mountain, and on your exhale, go back into your low lunge position. Try to tap your hands and your foot down close to the same time. Your inhale lifts you back up. That's 2. And exhale swims you back, low lunge. Nice. All right, we'll wrap things up, meet back up at one-legged mountain. Nice work, friends. So for one-legged mountain, you're looking at one spot in front of you that's not moving that you're focusing your gaze on. You're spread out into that right foot. You can feel your big right toe gripping to the ground, and then full length of your spine right here. You're lifting your left knee up, plugging your left thigh bone back in towards your hips. And then we are going to take a twist open to the left. So left hand behind you, right hand to the outside of your left knee. Gaze is over to the left or is even looking back where your left hand is reaching. If you fall out of it, no worries. Just try it again. Stay with that breathing. Last round of breath. All right, one more of these where we inhale to one-legged mountain, regular one-legged mountain. Exhale back to low lunge. From low lunge, we're going to make a transition into side plank. So left hand is your base. Go onto the outside edge of your left foot. Stack the right over the left. Lift up through your hips and extend that right arm up tall in space as your hips lift away from the ground. You're welcome to stay right here. You could also have your left knee below your hip like a kickstand with your toes out to the left. You could also start to reach your right fingertips to the front of the room and then lift your right foot away from your left and press it to the back of the room. We want to watch that we're not sinking into our left shoulder. So we're pressing to the ground, lifting away. You spread into that left hand, staying with your breathing. Friends, next exhale, turn down into your plank. Breathe in at the top. As you exhale, we'll lower slowly all the way down to the ground. Okay, we did these one arm reaching forward, crossing the ankles, hand behind your back. You can do that again, or I'm going to take us into a bind. So this is half floor bow. So right arm reaches forward. You'll bend your right knee so your heel comes to your sit bone, and then your left hand is grabbing the top of the foot by way of the inside of the foot. And then from here, we find that same engagement that we were doing earlier, where your thighs are lifting off the ground, your left leg is reaching back in space, and then your chest and your right arm are lifting off the ground. And don't strain your chin to look up. Keep the chin slightly in as you lift up. So you are gazing forward, but it's more out of the top of your eyes and keeping that length in the back of your neck intact. And then you get that balance of kicking and pulling between your leg and your foot. So your arm is extended. It's getting pulled away with your foot, and you're pulling back on it with the hand. Last inhale lifts up. Exhale, lower down. We're going to meet in down dog. So again, move to your plank or your tabletop, and then shift your hips back up in space. Find a couple rounds of breath. So to start out this side of your sequence, from your three-legged down dog, take and press your left leg back and up in space, three-legged dog. And again, I want the heel to reach up and back, the front of your left hip bone to point down and back. Watch that you're not dropping into your right shoulder, your right hip. You're strong there. It's adding to that lift and then extension up and back. Breathe in here. Next exhale, bring shoulders above your hands and that left knee to your right elbow or tricep or holding. Awesome. For 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach back up, three-legged down dog.
Exhale, knee over to your left elbow or tricep, shoulders above your hands, holding and breathing. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach back up. And on the exhale, bring the knee to your forehead, back heel is high off the ground, curl forehead to knee. Inhale, reach back up. And then on the exhale, step up into that low lunge position. Work the foot up in between your hands, press into the ball of your right foot. We rise up, high crescent lunge. Nice. Lower yourself down into that lunge where your front knee is bent at 90. Let those thighs tone in towards center line. That back right heel is pulling forward on the ball of the right foot. Feel the press into your left foot, down into the left leg, and then feel the strength around your left knee through your upper leg. Feel that left glute engaged, drawing back in space. Pull the arms back so the biceps are framing your ears, shoulder heads are down. And then take the hands to your chest. Deep breath in. As you exhale, hinge forward and then twist over to the left. So now the right elbow is pressing to the top outside of your left thigh. And then you're twisting your chest open to lift so that your sternum is lifting to the same level as the knuckles of your thumbs. And you get to use that left elbow to press down to reach to twist open as well, right? You're kind of prying your way open into that twist. When you get to the end of the exhales, that's when you get to the deepest parts of your twist. All right, friends. Last deep round of breath in that twist. Get to the end of it, and then you're going to open to Warrior 2 on the inhale. So knife edge of your right foot to the ground. Maybe your left foot goes forward a little bit or your right leg goes back a little bit. Essentially, you get to lengthen out your stance. Find the heels in that one line from the front of your mat to your back. Feel the left sit bone underneath your body. Spine up nice and tall. Reach through your arms. We put a lot of emphasis on your front leg in your lunge. It's really important. You want to protect that knee. You want to feel that glute engage as well as the upper and the lower leg. You also want to stay really strong in your back leg. You want to feel the press all the way down into the leg, that extension out through it. And then if you're not there with the arms, reach out through your arms, gaze forward. Right on. One more breath here. And as you get to your exhale, we're going to shift forward. And whatever version of extended side angle you did on the other side, let's find that here. Emphasis that your back right hip's not popping up, right? Drop that right hip on level with your left hip. Part of that is that you're lifting your left side body away from the left thigh as your whole torso is leaning onto the angle. Nice breathing. Almost there. Okay, so open to that star. Now you face to the right. Legs are wide, 10 toes to the right, arms lift up. Breathe in. Exhale to your wide-legged squat. So bring those heels in underneath your knees. Send the feet out at 45. Root into all corners of your feet. Watch the knees aren't collapsing in. Feel those thighs rotating up and back. Sit bones are lowering. This time on this side, let's lift the heels off the ground. I just stepped my feet in a little closer for this one. So heels off the ground, you're on the balls of your feet. You can extend your arms, feel the shoulder blades gently toning in towards one another, and then fire up those muscles of your legs. And you're also right into your core on this one, and then your shoulders are on that upper spine.
Beautiful pose. Stay with that breathing. Last couple rounds of breath. Last one. Step out to your star. Inhale, your legs wide, your arms tall, maybe arc back a little. And on your exhale, we're going back, warrior two, forward, left arm forward, right arm back, and then reverse your warrior. So left palm to the sky, right hand to your hip thigh behind you, and lift up. Note that the beginning of reverse warrior is just a straight lift of your arm up. Length from that hip crease out through the side body. And then you can add if you want where you're bending the elbow, head comes back, shoulder drops a little bit away from the ear. Stay conscious and aware of how you are engaged in the legs here. Almost there, last couple rounds. So take that inhale, friends, and on your exhale, cartwheel your hands down into your low lunge. And then on an inhale, we'll rise all the way up, one-legged mountain in one move. Almost did it. All right, that's why we do it a few times. Right knee lifts up, arms are up. So hold one-legged mountain. Feel your big left toe gripping to the ground. Lift that right knee up so you got the thigh parallel, thigh bone plugged in. And then we'll do it a couple more. So breathe in one-legged mountain. Exhale, swim back, low lunge. Awesome. Use that inhale. Rise up, one-legged mountain. Exhale, swim back, low lunge. Nice work. So rise up, one-legged mountain on that inhale. You got it. And we're going to hold. Okay, so for the twist, your left hand to the outside of your right thigh. Reach and extend your right arm back behind you in space. Spine stays up nice and strong, and you're pulling against that knee. You're giving a little pressure against it as well, against the hand. And then you're twisting, gazes to the right or even back behind. Nice. Last round of breath here. Inhale, back up, one-legged mountain. Exhale, swim back, low lunge. Okay, so for this low lunge, right hand is your base and side plank. So outside edge of your right foot, left over your right, left arm lifts. Again, you can do that kickstand with your knee down below your hip. This is awesome to stay here, or reach your left fingertips to the front of the room and then lift your left foot away from your right and press your heel to the wall behind you. Nice engagement. Watch you're not sinking into that right hip. You're lifting away. Let's do those last couple rounds of breath here. Okay, perfect. Almost there, friends. Breathe in and then turn into your plank. We're taking that slow exhale all the way down to your stomach. Once you land, we'll do that other half of our half floor bow, or you're just going to do what we did earlier with left hand forward, right hand small with the back, ankles crossed. For the bind, though, the half floor bow. Left arm forward, bend your left knee, bring your heel to your sit bone, right hand at the top of your foot by way of the inside of your foot, and then you start to lift your thighs up off the ground. Lift your left arm up off the ground. Engage that bind. That's the big one, right? Leg kicks back, pulls your arms taut, and your right arm pulls back against it. Last round of breath. Nice. Release down. Press up to your tabletop. And then we're going to work into some cat and cow. So on the inhale, drop your belly, lift your chest and your tailbone up. And as you exhale, drop the tailbone, your head, mid-back high, round cat. Friends, you take this over at your own pace. Work between the bow and the arch as fast or as slow as you like. Let your breath be your guide for your practice. You could try shifting a little forwards and a little backwards inside of each of those. Excellent, friends. From that cat and cow, let's come back into our down dog. Inhale your right leg back and up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, open your hip and bend your knee, so you're making a scorpion tail. Your knee is lifting high, and then the front of your right hip bone is starting to open to the right side of the room. As you bend the knee, your right heel then is coming in towards your sit bones. Watch that you're not sinking to left shoulder or twisting your left heel to the left. Stay strong through your hands to the ground and that left foot to the ground. On an exhale, step up low lunge position. Walk your right foot a little to the right by a couple inches. Left foot a little bit to the left by an inch. And then drop the knife edge of your left foot to the ground with your left toes pointing a little more forward than they did in Warrior 2. Rise up. This is Warrior 1. So your feet, right? Your heels are on railroad tracks. You're pressing into the knife edge of that foot. Your toes are angled a little more forward. Right knee above your heel. And then you're twisting through your hips, bringing that left hip forward. Arms are up nice and tall in space. Excellent, friends. Find your breath. Drop your hands behind you, interlace your fingers at your knuckles, and then extend your knuckles to the ground, squeeze your shoulders together, lift up through your chest, and we'll bow into humble warrior. Right shoulder towards the inside of your right thigh. It could hover above it or even rest on it. Relax the weight of your head to the ground like an ostrich digging its head into the sand, and then pull your knuckles towards the sky and bend your elbows slightly forward. Nice breathing.
Last couple rounds of breath. Nice, guys. Release your hands to the ground, low lunge. And then we're going to work into Ardha Chandrasana half moon. If you've got a block, you could take out like a foot in front of your right foot on level 1, 2, or 3. If you don't have a block, no worries. You can use your fingertips. And what we end up doing is we're going to stand up on the right hand and the right leg. Press down into the floor or into your block through your fingertips, fists, or even your palms. And then you're lifting that left leg up, and like we were doing in that version of side plank, you're pressing your left heel to the wall behind you. And then your left arm is extending up, stacking over your bottom right. Your gaze might twist a little bit up in space, or could just be to the side of the room, or it could start down. That's the easiest point, right? Just looking down to the ground. Awesome, friends. Stay with that breath. Your left toes are pointing over to the left. Front of your left hip bone is pointing over to the left wall. Okay, if you want, you could bend your left knee, bring it in towards your chest, hook your left hand to the top of the foot, and then bind and gently kick back in space. Bind means a balance of kicking and pulling. Nice. Let's inhale, open up if you're in your bind. Exhale, come down to that low lunge position. And for pigeon, heel toe your right foot to the left side of your mat. Bring your right knee over to the right. You drop your shin down. You could have the top of your foot or the side of your foot to the ground. Top of the left foot to the ground. Slide it back a little bit in space. When you press to your fingertips, you want your right knee to be to the outside of your right hand. And then you breathe to lengthen. Exhale to come down to your forearms. Bring your head down to your hands, to a block, or to the ground. Check that the front of your left hip, the front of your left thigh, are all pointing straight down to the ground. You don't want to sink into your right hip and start to turn the front of your left leg to point to the left. You want it to point straight down. Your hips are on the same level with one another. For more intensity, your right shin could be more parallel to the top of the mat. With less intensity, you could angle it back a little bit away from it. Release the weight of the head and breathe. Last couple rounds of breath here. And press to your hands, lift up through your chest. Drop the weight to your right sit bone, swing your left leg forward, and then bring your right leg forward, and then give a little roll out through your right ankle. Left foot to the inside of your right thigh, scooch to the front edge of your sit bones. We're going to do a one-legged forward fold. So you're on the front edge of your sit bones, right heels to the ground, toes are up. And then take your right hand off from your right hip and back a little bit, press into it. Inhale your left arm up, press down and back through your left leg, and on your exhale, hinge forward and grab to the outside of the calf or the outside of the foot or the outside of the ankle. You can play with adding a little bend into your knee or subtracting a little bend away from your knee. You could also hook like your a t-shirt or a towel or a strap around the left foot if you're close to grabbing it, or the right foot rather if you're close to grabbing it. And your left hand just pulls onto both ends of the strap. In that back right hand, you're getting to press back, so you're sending the spine forward. Same thing with your left leg, down and back, sending the spine forward. Use that breath. It's magic in these poses, right? Just helps our bodies to get into these shapes. Or to say it works its magic. Nice, last round of breath. Inhale those arms up tall in space. Exhale, bring the hands down into your heart center. Send your left leg forward. And then we're going to take this up into boat pose, Navasana. So your heels are off the ground. Hook your hands to your hamstrings and then lengthen your spine up and back, tone your shoulders in. Reach your arms away from the legs forward in space. And you could also lengthen your legs out as well and then lift your feet up. Just make sure you don't start to C-curve in your spine. You want to find this beautiful posture through your spine as you're breathing into boat. Last round of breath. Cross ankles, come forward, plant your hands, and step back into down dog. Find that downward facing dog, and then left leg is coming up. When you're ready, if you haven't yet, make that scorpion tail with your left leg. So as it lifts up, drape your toes down over to the right. Again, so the front of your left hip bone is now starting to point to the left. Your left heel is coming in towards your sit bones, and just watch that you are not sinking into your right shoulder or twisting your right heel out to the right. There's a strong base here. Breathe into it, friends, and on an exhale, step your left foot up in between your hands. Walk it a little to the left, walk your right foot a little to the right, and then drop the knife edge of your right foot to the ground. Your toes will point a little more forward than Warrior 2, and this brings us into our Warrior 1 shape. So your heel's on railroad tracks, your right hip is drawing forward, left thigh bone plugging back into hips, arms up nice and tall, you're in that lunge. And you can always make those little adjustments, right? It's not a locked into it right when you come into it. You're working your way into it, finding the pose for your body. For our humble warrior, hands behind, interlace your fingers at your knuckles. And then draw the knuckles down, shoulders squeeze, chest lifts, and take your bow into your humble warrior. Left shoulder towards the inside of your left thigh. Weight of the head relaxes. You could hover it above the thigh or rest it, or bring it to the inside. Knuckles extend to the sky, elbows bend a little bit forward or pull a little forward. Gaze behind you. Awesome breathing. Last round of breath. Hands to the ground, low lunge position. And then if you were using your block before, we're going to find a half moon, left hand out in front of you, and you stand up on the left leg. You've got the left hand of the block or to the ground right underneath you. You can use your fingertips, fists, or palms. And then you're pressing your right heel to the wall behind you, toes turned to the right. And you're stacking your right
arm over your left, right shoulder over your left. And again, if you fall out of this, no worries. I want you just to try again. Okay, if you did the bind, bring the right knee into your chest. Take your hand to the top of the foot and then engage that bind. Start to let your knee kick back. Your foot kicks back. Your arm pulls against it. Nice, guys. If you find yourself teetering or tottering, I'm feeling it too. Focus on your breath. Focus your gaze. And then inhale, open up. We're down to our low lunge. And then for pigeon, walk the left foot over to the right. Drop your left knee over to the left. Top of the right foot to the ground. Maybe walk your right leg back a little bit. Lift up to your hands, left knees to the outside of your left hand. And then lower your elbows to the ground. Forehead down to the ground or to the mat or to a block. Checking that the front of your right leg is pointing down to the ground, not starting to open to the right. So don't drop into your left, down to your left sit bone. Your left sit bone's up on level with your right. And you just ride into that breathing. Take that last deep inhale, fill up. Exhale to release out slow and steady. And press up to your hands, drop your left sit bone to the ground, swing your legs forward. Give a little roll out through your left ankle as you bring your right foot to the inside of your left thigh. Scooch to the front edge of your sit bones. Left hand comes a little off your left hip and back. Right knee is pressing down and back. Inhale your right arm up. And on your exhale, you're reaching for the outside of the foot or the outside of the calf. Gaze is to the ground. So the spine is extending forward out from the hips. You're also pressing back against the floor through the right leg, the right knee, and that left hand. And then you're folding down. And then we've got that length through the back of your left leg. So your heel is pressing down and forward. Using the breath to process, to keep that awareness with everything that's going on. Inhale, take those arms up tall in space. On the exhale, bring your hands down to your heart center. Friends, make your way down onto your back. Once you get down, just bring your knees to your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees and give yourself a little rock out side to side. Bring your heels in underneath your knees at hip bone distance with your feet on parallel. This is bridge pose. One way that you can check if your heels are underneath your knees, if you reach your arms down your sides, your fingers should be able to touch the heels. We're going to press into the elbows, really down to the triceps, and then lift the hips off the ground. Step your shoulders in a little closer, and then interlace your fingers at your knuckles. Reach your knuckles out towards your heels. You're on the outsides of your biceps as well, and you're pressing down into the ground. Head is relaxed. Feel all corners of your feet to press and root into, getting those hips up nice and high in space. And then if your gaze is at your belly, as you're doing the Ujjayi breathing, you'll see the rise and fall of your breath. And then just release vertebrae by vertebrae. Take those knees into your chest. Wrap your arms. Give a little side-to-side rock. Take your left leg all the way flat out in front of you. Bring your right knee to your chest. And then your left hand will grab your right knee and pull it down over to the side. You're going to roll onto the outside edge of your left hip. Reach and extend your right arm to the right and take your gaze out across your right fingertips. Relax through your body and then stay with that breath. And as you're relaxing, there's always, you can feel a little bit of that push and pull into the pose. I love that about this practice. And again, the exhales are where you get a little bit deeper. Roll onto your back. We're going to switch things out. So now with your right leg flat out in front of you, hug your left knee to your chest. And then your right hand pulls your knee down over to the right. Roll onto the outside edge of your right hip. Reach and extend your left fingertips over to the left and take your gaze out across your fingertips. Again, twisting from the tailbone all the way through the crown of the head. And as you complete the cycle of breath that you're on, you get all the way down to empty. You come onto your back. Take one last little rock side to side, or make it happy baby with peace sign fingers to your big toes or hands to the edges of your feet. Knees bent out wide. You've got the ankles above the knees. Bottoms of the feet are pointing to the sky. Relaxing the head. You pull down on the frame of happy baby and you just rock side to side, real slow and easy. And we'll take a couple minutes in Shavasana. So this is corpse posture. It's just a resting pose where you extend your legs, you let the weight of the feet relax open, you release your arms, that your palms point to the sky, weight of your head just relaxes, you can close your eyes, and then we get to let go of controlling the breath at this point and start to transition back into the automatic breathing of our body. And as you create stillness with the mind and with the body, you are inviting the emotions into that deeper place of stillness, a deeper place of peace. So nice and slow, just start to move your fingers and your toes. Deepen that into a roll out of your wrists and your ankles, maybe reaching your arms all the way overhead behind you to a full morning stretch. And then roll the weight of your body onto its side, curling up in a fetal position, relaxing, breathing. Press the hands to the ground, keep the eyes closed, and come up to a comfortable cross-legged position. Scooch onto the front edge of the sit bones. And then rooting your hands into the top of your legs, inhale to reach the spine up tall, roll your shoulders up towards your ears, and then release them down away from the ears on the back. Bring the hands together in front of your heart center. And we get to end this experience with this beautiful greeting. So friends, thank you for letting me guide you through your practice today. I salute you. Namaste. Right on, guys. Thanks so much. As always, please, if you enjoyed the video, click like, hit subscribe, and share. That helps out a ton. If you are in a place to make a donation for the class and you'd like to, I've got my Venmo ID listed. There should be a link in the description for it, so you can do that. And if not, no worries. It's my gift to you. But thank you so much for getting your yoga on and for the support. And I send my best to you. I hope you have a great one. I'll catch you next time. Much love.